We aren't going to have the status report at 12:30 because we know that you're right in the middle of making stuff and we don't want to stop from doing that. Instead of stopping your work and giving us the status report, we'd ask you that you send one person through the hub 2 and write a summary of your idea, your concept, your service on the big papered wall. Just do that so we can kind of gather what everyone's doing. And yeah, keep working through till 3, the upload 3 o'clock. So yes, now we're just got together for a presentation from our lovely sponsors who've enabled us to have this event this week. As you know, the event's not for profit, so we couldn't have food and the venue here without their support. So here we have Haig, an innovation company. They work a lot in the public sector. They have a strong connection with Dundee and Scotland, and we're really happy to have them here. As you know, it's a big commitment to travel all the way here and give up your entire weekend. So it's not, and they've been really good going around talking to people. So they will be here to have a chat with after this presentation if there's anything that strikes you interesting and you want to pick their brains. And yes, thank you very much for driving all night to get to us.
Okay. Presentation is a bit over-ambitious here, so we're just going to try and have a little bit of fun and tell you a couple of things about what we think. But the point being, we're getting a lot out of this. We're probably getting more out of this than you guys are, so it's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to go around and talk to you, and we're really enjoying ourselves this far. But we've got to say something about the long drive up here. Hit it there, Ross, good man. Just a wee bit of music. It's Sunday morning. Most of us would have a bit of music in our lives on Sunday morning, so let's listen to some music.
Our generation.
No, it's not actually, it's before my generation. I just want you to tune into the words of the chorus here, okay? Here it comes. See? Okay, Ross, thanks for that. Brilliant. See, we're all feeling a bit warmer, in the mood. Roy Orbison does it every time. But I'd just like to focus on what Roy was saying there for just a couple of minutes before Lynne takes over. Let's just see if it is alright what Roy did, shall we? So, I drove all night to get to you. Well, that's okay. I'm worried about the road safety aspect of that, of course. But, you know, some women would think it's quite romantic and they'd appreciate the sentiment. Some of them think it's maybe a wee bit over the top, but there you go. You can get away with it with a box of chocolates or one of those nice bunches of flowers you get from the all-night garages. That might do the trick. So, is that alright? Might be alright. Let's go with that. So, Roy drove all night to get to you. Then he crept in your room. Now, creeping in your room, you're driving all night, you get to somebody's house, you creep in their room, they're not expecting to see you. I'm not sure we're still in the territory of all right. Then he woke you from your sleep, so you're surprised. He's not meant to be there. He's not the best looking guy in the world, Roy, and, you know, bless his heart and rest in peace and all that sort of thing, but, you know, you wouldn't be surprised to see those big dark glasses waking you from your sleep. So, it's really not alright now. And then he's going to make love to you? Is that alright? Well, no, Roy, it's not alright. That definitely isn't alright. So, you know, if you thought about it, Roy, you might have tried something else. What about, I drove all night, called ahead before disembarking on my lengthy journey, asked if it was okay to come and visit, because, you know, we don't want to be unannounced, then explained that I might be quite late when I get there, and I'm going to do my best not to waken you up, but hopefully, in the morning, when you've had a good sleep, you're well rested, you've had a chance to wake up properly, you're going to make a light breakfast, definitely some coffee, some toast, maybe a cereal bar, and then afterwards, maybe we can get it over. Is that alright? Much better. Much better. So that's, you know, that's a song that's special to us at the minute, because we did drive a long way to get here. But we had to unpick it and unpack it a wee bit just to find out where we think, you know, where we stand with Roy on that. You know, some of us might have a different perspective from Roy. So I think we've kind of demonstrated that. But it's a special song for another reason. Over to you, Lynne.
It's a special song for us because ironically it's what brought us to service design. Not necessarily because of our relationship, far from it, but actually it was our photographer Andy that unpicked this song for us the first time, and it was also our photographer who worked with us in a project in 2009 in Cumbria, who helped us to describe what we do differently, because we didn't really know what we did. You know, Richard's background is in the military, my background is as an economist and in innovation, and we were working with lots of different organisations to start to reimagine how they could shift the boundaries of their organisations and what they were doing together. And we didn't really have a name for it, and we didn't have a name for what we did. And Andy said to us, do you know what, I think you do design. Hadn't you thought about that? And from that moment, we've started to look more so into design, we've started to work with more designers, and it's actually brought an awful lot to what we do in our practice around improving services for people, improving how organisations work to improve services for people. And it's also made us think a lot about, sometimes when we adopt what people might think, or we approach what people might think of as a problem, our idea of the problem isn't always everybody else's idea of the problem. So when Roy described his romantic journey down to visit, you might look at that problem, you might look at that solution in two different ways, in fact in many different ways. And one of the things that we're very aware of is that the problem is a political space. I don't mean that with a capital P political, but how we describe problems and how we describe solutions is contested. Not everybody sees problems and not everybody sees solutions in the same way. And one of the joys that design brings is that attention to multiple perspectives, that attention to the user. And maybe as you've gone through your process of service design today, you started with an idea, and then you started to unpick it, think about personas, and see it differently. And only by seeing things differently can we start to do things differently, and can we start to change things. So Roy brought us to service design, and we brought Roy to you this morning, to remind you about that different perspective and that contested space. But also to say, this would not have made it to the charts. Okay? So something about the design brings an aesthetic, it brings a craft that is very much needed, I think, in business and in our lives at the moment. It has the potential to bring a real humanity and dignity to some of the services that we work in, particularly in the public sector where we're working with some crunchy issues. But design can bring that craft, that aesthetic and that dignity, and that's very, very appealing to us. So I'll hand over to Richard to just wind up.
Yeah, just to wind up. So yeah, as Lynne said, you know, that probably wouldn't have made it to the charts because it hasn't got the same ring to it. And we were all fairly comfortable with Roy and what he was saying before we started to unpick it. So there's something interesting in that. What do Lynne and I want to do with what we take from design? Where do we want to take it? Well, the short answer is anywhere and everywhere. You know, we'll go anywhere with this, and we'll take these concepts and methods anywhere. We've already been a few places with them. We've been to Dundee with them last year. We were in Dundee, and we were doing this sort of stuff. We were taking people away for 2 or 3 days out of their very, very busy diaries and putting them through hothouse experiences that looked a bit like this. But the problems they were dealing with were real. So it was sometimes quite difficult and uncomfortable for people. And that's, you know, something that I'm reminded of. The atmosphere here is great, and it's shoulders down. Sometimes when you do these things for real, people think about themselves in these situations, and it gets quite uncomfortable. But yeah, we do want to take it to a lot of different places. I want to take it to places in the world that I've been where things aren't so great for people. We're already taking it to some contested spaces in examples as banal as retrofitting buildings for energy efficiency, which I believe there's an awful mess of a problem around that in a place that we're going to go to soon. So we'll go anywhere with this. But I think it's important, I think it's really new and fresh, and I think it's the way forward, because I've been in lots of contested spaces where there weren't methods like this at hand to solve problems that are very complex. So I'm learning as much as I've ever learned every day about this sort of stuff. So thank you for what you're teaching us.
Thank you for coming and for enjoying it. And I hope when you go away, you take away not just the ideas, but also the relationships you've had with people, the experiences of working together, and some of the things that crunched in the head, it's quite hard. We'll be back in in and around Scotland working in the third sector over the next 2 years. And we're hoping to host a lot more open studio spaces and events like this, and I hope we'll keep in touch with what we're up to through Better by Design. It's a largely funded project. So keep an eye on that and come join in. All welcome. Thanks very much.
Thank you.